Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Talk Thursday. With us today is Epi Ludwig Nekaj, founder and CEO of Crowdsourcing Week. It's first launched in 2012. Crowdsourcing Week is a summit that explores the effects and opportunities in a connected and collaborative society and how technology can alter the way crowdsourcing works. Actually, it's how it disrupts every single industry, right? Epi created Ludwig Plus Partners in 2008, a virtual advertising agency working on a 100% crowdsourcing model. He'll talk about ideas from the crowdsourcing space and how this applies to us in the Philippines and to Asia. Welcome to Rappler, Epi.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for having me here. It's really exciting to be here.
What are you doing in Manila now?
Yes, yeah, that's what a lot of my friends may probably think about what I'm doing here. I'm really here to really come with a message that this is a crowd economy, this crowdsourcing world that we are really evangelizing all around the world. It is coming. It is coming in a way that many organizations and many decision makers and government officials having a hard time to really wrap their head about. Yes, we saw a lot of times for many years the social business, and we start to really wrap our hand around it. But this is a new wave, and I think a lot of organizations, they really have to put their attention to it. So I'm here to evangelize it, educate people what we're doing here, and really excited to be here.
So for the people who don't really know, I mean, of course, you're talking to the the choir, but you're preaching to the choir here. But what exactly do you mean by crowdsourcing?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different terminologies when it comes to crowdsourcing. I don't like to go by the textbook because textbook really doesn't live with us. I think what we're coming with the idea is that crowdsourcing is where social media turns into social productivity. You know, people are spending a lot of time on the Facebooks of the world and Twitter. It's time to be more productive, and I think we'll talk more about that later.
What does that mean?
Well, I think part of the thing where we're seeing that the 2.5 billion people connected to the world today on the internet, a very small percentage of people are really maximizing the opportunities of what internet brings. The rest of the people are pretty much really using the internet, the same thing on the internet of 1991. Send an email, probably share something on Facebook, buy something in e-commerce, and that's where it stops. What we're doing here with Crowdsourcing Week, we're trying to really educate also the masses how you're really going to be part of these social productivity platforms so you can really put your passions and talents where the communities are.
You're talking about massive disruption.
Absolutely.
Could you explain what how you see it? Why is it massive disruption?
I see this because three things are happening. One is the internet population is growing. Today we have 2.5 billion people internet population. Next 7 to 10 years we'll have another 2.5 billion people. Through that, the hyperconnectivity will be in a way that will really bring us closer together. But also the other part is that the technology itself. So these three main things are really fueling crowdsourcing. Now, when it comes to the disruption, think about the companies of Airbnb is disrupting the whole entire hospitality industry. I mean, you're talking to the company that's only 5 years old and today really makes one of the biggest valuations that any other hotel chain group it exists. They are in 34,000 places, not cities, 34,000 places around the world. They operate in China with no office in China. This is totally disruptive, completely disruptive.
In Asia, how did you wind up in Asia? I mean, you started out, you were running an advertising agency in New York. Why Asia? How did you wind up here?
Well, I think it was God's will, of course, His wisdom, and I think the glory really brings you to something where kind of you follow your passion. When I founded Crowdsourcing Week out of New York, we launched in February 22nd, so 2 years is coming up, a few weeks in now. I looked at where most of the biggest markets are. Of course, North America is the leader in this space. Europe is second, but it's more spread out. You have Australia and New Zealand is third. What happened in Australia and New Zealand is that you have these old entrepreneurs and these startups, they scale towards North America. They never scale in Asia.
Wow.
Asia was an untapped market. This is the reason why I'm here.
Yes.
Asia represents a big crowd, and I always use this as an example. We have a visual of the world map, and you have this small circle that lies on top of the India and China, and also includes Indonesia. You have more people in that small circle than you have in the rest of the world.
And what do you plan to do? I mean, you moved to Singapore and you had the first crowdsourcing summit last year. You know, when you emailed me, I was like, oh my gosh, good luck to Epi. He's going to have to convert. I mean, it's a tough uphill climb. I mean, what's it been like?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. I mean, it was, first of all, it was a difficult choice. I had to leave my my mother and my brother there, and I had to really move to the country that I haven't really spent more than one day. Which I've been 10 years ago in Singapore. But you know, coming and educating people about what we're trying to do with crowdsourcing, a lot of people, they felt like quite scared, especially like, you know, people who are in the government sector. They thought like, okay, we're trying to do something really which is unusual. But I think they start to get to the point where we're heading. And with the first global conference that we had last year, we redefined what crowdsourcing really means to the people and how much is this will benefit organizations, but also how much this will benefit people at large. So it's about empowering people.
Explain that. How is that changing the way people need to think?
Absolutely. I think it's all about the mindset. You know, when you look at the internet today, as I mentioned to you, 2.5 billion people, a majority of people are really using the internet from 1991. They're stuck with the mindset. I think when you look at the internet today, it is about two things that you can really discover. You can discover where your passion is, and you can discover where your talent is. And I think today you don't need to come, America Got Talent, to come to you. You got America Talent on the tip of the finger.
Fantastic. And what does this mean for established businesses?
Well, this means that they have to understand that the big change that's coming, that those days of the hierarchy and the triangle, it doesn't work anymore. It's about people. The crowd are the companies. This is a great example when I said about Airbnb, many other great examples that on the enterprise as well. But I think what's most important for the decision makers and the businesses to understand is that you can do a lot more on internet, because today internet is about participation.
How do you, so here's the other part, right? Participation does drive, it's great that social media can turn into social productivity, but how do you control the crowd, which is what most big organizations, governments will say, how can you control this crowd?
Absolutely. I mean, look, there are governments out there who are really listening to what people really got. Think about it. Think about media, for example. You're in media, right?
Absolutely.
And so you've seen this media disruption, and the biggest, I think, the biggest failure that the media executives, they fail to understand is that they think they're being disrupted by you. As a matter of fact, they're not. They're being disrupted by each one of us. We are a media entity on our own.
Yes.
And so you have to think about the internet of yesterday was the internet of downloads.
Yes.
So remember those days when we had to go and watch a movie, we had to download it.
Yes.
And now it's the internet of upload. Think about YouTube. I remember when YouTube was acquired by Google.
Yes.
And I was really wrapping my head around it, and I was scratching my head because I was working for a media company. We were selling banner ads. We were making $1 million plus from banner ads. And we're scratching our heads at how come no one is coming to offer us a big offer like Google to YouTube.
Yes.
And the part of the things that why Google made that offer was because YouTube and Google got it from the beginning. They saw that the future of media is about media of upload. And this is where about democratized content, human-powered content. Can you imagine when Google bought YouTube, they bought with no revenue and they paid $1.6 billion, Maria.
Yes.
Today, YouTube alone makes $3 billion a year.
Incredible. So in this world today, and again, it's funny, we live in it, but we don't really see it because we see it with old paradigms. How do you describe this world now?
I describe this world as much more complex. I think it's the systems are starting to be broken, the old systems. I think it's for good. I think the whole promise of internet, we're going to start to see it. First, we start seeing with the social, giving people a voice. Now we're moving to the next generation of what internet really brings to the table. And this is exactly what we're talking about when it comes to like disruption. So disruption, it is not that the technology is disrupting these business models. I think technology is enabling these business models to become very disruptive.
Interesting. So you pulled together these crowdsourcing week, this crowdsourcing summits, and full disclosure, I was there last year. I will be there this year.
Thanks for coming. It was really great pleasure having you.
No, it's great. Thank you for inviting me. Describe it. Why should people care? Why should they go? What do you do there?
Yeah, I think with Crowdsourcing Week, a global conference in Singapore, which is a 5-day conference. We focus on many different topics. What we're trying to do is we're trying to facilitate the knowledge about this new digital economy. As the head of an organization, as the top manager, as the government official, you must understand what this really means to your organization, that you have to really go and really think about where you're heading next. I think it's very important. This is coming as a storm. Lots of organizations are not ready. Your talent, they don't know where they're going to find the talent. They're no longer in the physical spaces anymore. So you have to really find them somewhere else.
So if you were running an organization, what do you need to do in this world today?
I personally, I don't want to be in their shoes. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it is very difficult. I mean, think about you are a CEO of a large organization, and you're really trying to wrap your head around it. It's so difficult. But I think one thing that I really focus is going back to your organization culture. I think that really means a lot. I was at the Facebook's office in Singapore before New Year. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to see how this company really operates. The culture is everything. For them, it is not about just pursuing the passion to make money. It's about pursuing the passion to bring the mission, and their mission is to connect everyone in the world. When you look at Facebook today, this company, it is not just about bringing you, connect you. It is about everything else. They are utility that you need. You must be on that. And next, when some industry falls and when some company falls, they have an opportunity to embrace that very quickly because they have the culture. So of course, it makes sense for Facebook to be the first $1 trillion company in the world because they have that culture. So my best advice, I would say to any CEO out there, to really go back and really find out what is your organization DNA and start from there.
How would
One more thing that I would like to add is Maria, the CEO of Yahoo, her name?
Sheryl Sandberg.
No, the
CEO.
Yahoo.
Of Yahoo, Marissa Mayer.
Marissa Mayer, yeah.
Yes.
When she made that decision, right? So when she made that decision that everyone must come back to the office.
Correct.
I truly believe that she didn't do it in a purpose that she's trying to really bring that everyone in the office. What
she's trying to change her culture.
She's trying to change the culture because the culture was broken completely. This is the reason why she brought everyone in the office, because you have to bring them back, just like calling your family meetings, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think this is what the CEOs, they must really go back to the organization culture, find out exactly what is their DNA of the culture, and start working from there.
So if you created your own company, I mean, what is the organizational culture that works in today's connected world?
I think the biggest culture that we've seen, and I learned this by reading many books out there. Zappos was one of my inspiration. What I really like about these organizations is that you can act on my behalf as a founder, as a CEO. My team can act on my behalf anytime. I don't have to give them guidance, or they have to get my approval.
Yep.
And this is exactly where the organization have to head. Of course, I'm not really saying that a large organization CEO, someone must take a really must take a big step on it.
Yes.
But I think start slowly to really see this and really enable people and empower people in your organization to act on your behalf. That's really key.
Again, preaching to the choir. That's what one of the things that we want to try to do in Rappler always. What's the state of Asian companies now? So you're traveling around the region. How prepared are Asian companies for this new technology?
Well, I mean, as you know it better than me, Asia is very risk adverse, right? They don't want to take some big risks. They want to see if the concept works, and then they try to adopt it. But I think the future is in Asia, and I think the reason why the future is in Asia is because the internet population that is growing and the connectivity and everything else. But also think about innovation. When was the last time when Asia innovated? Well, lots of the products and brands that we consume here in Asia are pretty much from a Western world.
Correct.
And the reason why is because we just, Asia here they stayed away from a risk.
Yes.
I think internet has that ability to bring that risk lesser risks. And when that less of the risk will happen, you will see a lot more innovation coming from this side of the world. And that's where I heard news the other day that a lot of R&D initiatives now are starting to happen from Asia here.
Well, the Philippines is an interesting market because starting in 2010, ComScore called us the social media capital of the world. What's the potential you see here?
I totally see that Philippines will be one of those countries like embracing this very quickly. There's a platform out there called 99 Designs. For you who don't know, 99 Designs is a graphic design marketplace, crowdsourced a model where you can add a design, you can put a brief on there, and you can, in the end of within 24 hours, you get a number of different designs. This company, I would say, has a large community coming from Philippines and from Indonesia. Last year, we crowdsourced our T-shirts out of 99 Designs, and we saw a lot of them coming from Jakarta, from Indonesia. I think Philippines has, because of the creative minds, I think Philippines has a really big potential to really to wrap their head around it and really work around these social productivity platforms.
What about monetization models? I mean, this is the problem with a lot of the internet startups and companies that actually adapt the technology. What do you see works for crowdsourcing, for companies that do crowdsourcing?
Absolutely. I think crowdsourcing is the real answer for the monetization, as a matter of fact. We've seen from the past, and there's a lot of people that are talking about we're living in the internet bubble again.
Yes.
I think people are really missing and are also misunderstood what really crowdsourcing can bring. I think what we're going to see that we're not going to start build just another social media company, or just another social media analytic company. There's plenty of those out there, and I always say to the entrepreneur, stop building those things. Okay, start thinking about how you can really bring the crowds and focus on niches. You have an opportunity. If Jay Rogers from Phoenix, Arizona is able to crowdsource cars, bring industrial designers and engineers together to crowdsource cars and work with DARPA and work with the BMWs of the world, there's an opportunity for everyone out there to really come up with amazing niches, not just for the world, but also for the local markets as well.
Fantastic. Who are the speakers who will be there? And
you?
It's April.
We're so excited to have you back.
No,
thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. The speakers it's in April, right? April
7, 11.
And it's in Singapore. Who are the speakers? I'm looking forward to hear.
Well, we got Sean Moffitt, the author of the book Wikibrands. He is my inspiration. He was a founding board member, and we're really excited to have him. We're blessed to have him as a part of our company. Jeremiah Oyang from Crowd Companies. Previously, he was with the Altimeter Group.
Yes.
We have Shelly Kuppers from Chaotix. We got Jennifer Gustafsson from NASA. So we got lots of great speakers coming to
from NASA.
From NASA, yes.
Okay.
One thing that we're adding this time is that we're adding the healthcare track, and also education too from the last year. So last year we didn't have healthcare and education. This time we're adding these two.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
and one more thing that what we're doing is that we're also adding a panel on a digital money, and I think that this digital money really will play a really big important step towards crowdfunding.
Yes.
Given the fact that a lot of crowdfunding platforms are pretty focused on the local markets and their policies that are around it, and try to get around it. I think digital currencies have a really big opportunity to really bypass those banking systems and allow people to invest. So think about it, just the opportunities of the Facebooks, the next Facebooks of the world. You have an opportunity to invest in those companies through crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding platform.
For a traditional thinker, that's very hard to get a hold of.
Absolutely.
Bitcoin sounds like monopoly play money. I mean, how would you explain it to somebody who just doesn't trust it? It's like Facebook games.
Well, you can buy our tickets online through Bitcoin for our
exactly. You can buy the tickets online on Bitcoin.
But for you out there who don't understand what Bitcoin is the decentralized money system, and pretty much what we're seeing that there's a lot of these digital currencies will come in play. I wrote an article a month and a half ago regarding what the future of this digital money will be. I think going back to the history where I was as a kid before I left Kosovo in former Yugoslavia. I happened to be at the time where I experienced inflation within few minutes, and
Yes.
I'll explain you how. I went to the market, and at the time we had this was Yugoslav dinar,
Yes.
and when I went there, I went to the market. I was trying to bargain in for the product that I'm trying to buy. All of a sudden, 15 minutes later, my money was worth nothing. Now, think about like how many of those currencies you have today that are decentralized, that are centralized by the governments, and pretty much the inflation rate hits pretty high. So I think there's an opportunity for these digital currencies to step in and replace those currencies.
Are you too far ahead? I mean,
Maybe.
In this conversation, he's talked about the virtual office. He has a company that is a crowdsourced advertising company. Are you too far ahead? What are the dangers of being too far ahead?
Maybe, maybe not. I think the dangers of being too far ahead, like you being disconnected, and this is the reason why the events that we're doing is like we want to be connected with people.
Yes.
And I've been approached many times. People always tell me like, this would be very cool if you would do this in a virtual week-long conference. And I said, look, guys, we're not really ready there. We're humans. The humans, robots will not replace humans. So just remember that. So that's the reason why we're doing a week-long conference. We're doing summits around the world, physical summits. Yes. Just because we're humans, we cannot disconnect from that.
Do you see taking the crowdsourcing summits just virtually also?
You know, we do a lot of these Twitter chats. We have this crowd chat hashtag that we use like every week. We have a special guest. We're going to start doing the webinars in the future. I think we. You know, the webinars and these virtual conferences, they serve some purposes because it's on demand.
Yes.
But you still need some human connection.
Yes.
I think that's very important because the knowledge really doesn't come just because by listening.
Agree.
I think
Agree.
one part of that, what our conference is really different than many other conferences out there. I spend 70% of the time to really curate the content. So what I do is like I really focus on really designing the content around our global theme.
Yes.
And pretty much what I want to really bring out of these presentations, I want to bring what and how. Focus on inspiration, but also technical approach is very important because I want delegates, when they leave out of the room, to really focus and say, okay, now I have a clear guidance. I got inspired because that's how you get to learn, but then what? And this is what we're trying to answer in our conference.
It's very interesting. That normally we get questions from social media. I think people are listening. My last question here is, you know, the view of the world from your eyes now, and what do you see moving ahead?
I think from the view of the world, the way how I see it, and traveling around the world and seeing like companies, you know, embracing it. I think there are some governments who really are listening. They're doing something amazing. I think out of Asia, you see Korea. I think it's a very innovative country. Then they put these companies together with the big enterprises, try to really do something together. But what I see that will happen is we'll see that the distribution of income will be more fair, I would say. And the reason why I say that, look, Airbnb, although the New Yorkers tried to find it with many different policymakers and lobbyists, and they still cannot really throw them out, because an average day you have more people stay on Airbnb than you have in every single hotel in New York City. What does this mean, Maria? This means that the games have changed completely. This means that now the distribution of income is going to the pockets of the people.
Interesting.
So
it's bypassing that, but you know, you saw the studies that said that the wealth, the top.
Yes, I mean this was something that I came across a few weeks ago.
This is Oxfam, right? During Davos,
yes,
they were talking about.
Yes, it was pretty much the world's half wealth is controlled by 85 people.
85 people.
This is really sad. So you're talking about the world of 7.5 billion people. 7.5 billion people, half of that wealth is controlled by 85 people. People, do the math.
Yes.
I mean, we have a serious problem. You have a senator here who's trying to bring this crowdsourcing bill, Teofisto Gingona. Right.
Yes, yes.
And his mission and his goal is to really make sure that everyone can participate in this law-making process. Can participate from your room, can participate from beautiful islands that God really created for this beautiful country. Use it.
What are the dangers?
Dangers, I think that dangers are, there's a dark internet out there too. There's also dangers of the cybercrime,
Right.
which lots of people are not aware of it. I think that's the biggest danger that we're going to see. So the next challenge that's going to be that cybercrime that we're going to see. There's no longer crime with the pistolets anymore.
Interesting. In my latest book, I said that the internet is where terrorism and crime. It's the new battlefield.
Absolutely.
Right? But it's fascinating that you think the internet can level incomes, can actually bring not just transparency but equality. Is that?
Yeah.
How realistic is that?
I think that is very realistic. You know, I'm a big fan of Twitter, and the reason why I'm such a big fan of Twitter is because Twitter enables you and empowers you and gives you a voice. And I think if you really look at the technologies today, there's lots of technologies out there that really can give you that voice. There's lots of technologies out there that really can match your passion. There's lots of technologies that can give you and they can discover you, who you are and what you want to do. I think there's a room for everybody. God created us for unique in everything, for everything that we can do in this world. We can bring that uniqueness just because we have to change the mindset. And I think, you know, I go back to like, you know, success doesn't happen by choice. It happens. It doesn't happen by just randomly, but it happens by choice.
By choice.
Yes.
Fantastic. Last thoughts.
Thank you. Well, last thoughts. I would say, look at the internet. Don't look at the internet just spending time on the social networks and really not really doing anything productive. There's a lot of things that to do on the internet. Look at it with a different eye and see where your passion can fit. And if you really want to know more about it, just go to crowdsourcingweek.com and learn more about it. There's lots of great companies out there who are really doing some amazing work in many different fields. So in that, I think that's my last thought.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Great.
We've been speaking with Epi Ludwig Nekaj, founder and CEO of Crowdsourcing Week, about the opportunities and challenges in a collaborative society, our world today. I'm Maria Ressa. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Marisa.